Late summer foraging is one of those simple pleasures, and today I'm taking a walk through the local woodlands behind my allotment site in search of wild food. And the first fruits I've come across are these crimson red rowan berries, hanging like clusters of rubies against a backdrop of green. They are impossible to miss, with their bright red colour just demanding your attention. The berries themselves may be bitter raw, but they've been used for centuries in preserves and jellies and even wines. When cooked, their flavour softens and they become a valuable source of vitamins throughout the winter. Rowan berries are particularly abundant in vitamin C, which contributes to a tart flavour and is one of the reasons they're traditionally made into winter preserves, as vitamin C plays a vital role in immune health. These cute little crab pears are wild relatives of our cultivated pears. They're native to England and are often found in hedgerows and woodlands all across the English countryside. Much like crab apples, crab pears are smaller and harder than cultivated pears, and they have an astringent, sharp flavour that mellows beautifully when cooked. It makes them great for preserves and chutneys or spiced pear sauces. Historically, crab pears were used in the production of perry, which is a fermented drink similar to cider but made from pears. In fact, some of the earliest perry recipes probably use crab pears because of their intense flavour and tannin content. Like crab apples, crab pears can act as pollinators for large fruit-bearing pear trees, helping to boost the overall health and productivity of an orchard. Sloe berries come from the blackthorn bush, Prunus spinosa. They're typically harvested after the first frost of autumn, which helps to soften their intense astringency and makes them a little bit more palatable. These small, dark purple drupes are famously used to make sloe gin, a traditional English liqueur. When steeped in alcohol with sugar, the fruits impart a deep, rich flavour to the drink. Whilst they're a little bit too tart and drying to eat raw, sloe berries can be used in jams and jellies and syrups. When cooked with sugar, they take on a much sweeter and fruitier flavour. But it's not just the fruits which are valued. The leaves of blackthorn can be boiled into a tea and drank in moderation to help soothe an inflamed throat. They can also be cooled and used as a mouthwash. The blackthorn bush itself is associated with protection in folklore, with its spiny branches used as a natural barrier in hedgerows to keep out livestock and unwanted intruders. Pineapple weed is a super common plant and an indicator of compacted soils. It loves to grow in cracks in paths and along driveways and in disturbed areas. We call this plant pineapple weed because of the small yellow-green cone-shaped flower heads that give off a really strong pineapple-like scent when crushed. It's related to chamomile and looks pretty similar too, just minus the white petals. A topical salve can be made to soothe insect bites and sunburns and skin irritations, making it a really useful plant to find out in the field. The scent of pineapple weed is so strong that some traditions use it as a perfume, with the flowers being distilled into oil or alcohol, or dried and strung into necklaces. Grown here with the pineapple weed is purple loosestrife, known for its striking, tall spikes of purple flowers. It's often found growing in wetlands, riverbanks and damp meadows. It is a real eye-catcher in late summer, blooming in vibrant shades of purple that stand out against the greenery. Though it's considered invasive in some countries due to its ability to spread quite quickly under the right conditions, purple loosestrife has a long history of medicinal use and was famed for its astringent properties. The plant is a favourite for pollinators like bees and butterflies, making it important for supporting local ecosystems. Beyond the beauty and medicinal value and ecological role, purple loosestrife also has a pretty unique bushcraft application. Historically, it's been used to strengthen fibres. Soaking ropes in a tea made from the tannin-rich leaves and flowers enhance their durability and resilience. Now our basket is nice and full, I'm going to head back to the allotment site to check on the duckies and harvest some homegrown food. My garden is situated on the edge of one of Europe's oldest and largest allotment sites, with over 400 plots and miles upon miles of hedgerows. Each allotment is hidden away behind a door, feeling like its own private garden. I'm lucky enough to have two neighbouring allotments, making up a 640 square metre space. I'm even luckier to have one of the few remaining Victorian brick outhouses here. It was pretty dilapidated and took a couple of years to renovate, It was a huge project, but so worth it. Inside there's a fireplace and even an underbed heating system, a relic which I hope to explore in another project soon. Over the past 7 years, I've been transforming the space into a thriving forest garden. This patch of wasteland has become a living, breathing space, just like the wilder landscapes I explore when out foraging. As an artist, I see my garden as another creative medium. The enclosed spaces are connected by paths, leading you through different rooms, each with its own story and character. I've applied principles of permaculture in the design, with a mix of fruit trees and vegetables, herbs and flowers, all supporting one another. Coming through! Coming through! Well, the rain has just started to come in, but I'm pretty stoked with this little basket from this afternoon. It's quite full actually. I've got some purple loosestrife in here, some mint, some pineapple weed, lots of rowan berries, some dwarf pears and some sloe berries as well, and some big fat juicy Japanese rose hips and a little bit of meadow sweet. So I'm going to just harvest a few little bits from my garden before I head home and preserve all of this lot. What are you guys doing, eh? Come on then. Come on then. Isn't it nice? My ducks, Domino and Daffodil, have become central to the balance of this ecosystem. Roaming freely, they provide essential nutrients to the soil. Their droppings enrich the beds with nitrogen and phosphorus and potassium, all key elements that support healthy growth in plants. By scratching and foraging, they also help to break down organic matter, boosting microbial activity in the soil. This natural fertilisation process doesn't just feed the plants, it enhances the entire soil ecosystem, creating a balanced and thriving environment. So I've just spied some mould on these leaves here, and you can see that these leaves do actually have a silvery tint to them. So this is the natural colouring, but you can see on here there's some white dust and powder, and that is all of the fungus trying to take it over. So I'm going to be chopping back as many of these infected leaves as possible and harvesting the little courgettes before something eats it. Cutting these leaves back gives a little bit more airflow to the plant as well, which will prevent this from spreading any further. And then I'm just getting rid of some of these leaves from the bottom as well that are dying off. Again, just to provide a little bit more airflow around the bottom of the plant. Luckily I harvested this one just in time really. It's still pretty eatable as a courgette, but the others that I harvested this morning from over there, I got them a bit too late and they are massive marrows now. Food is of course at the heart of being both a grower and a forager, so a garden kitchen was essential. My kitchen shack, built from old cherry trees, brings new life to repurposed wood and provides a dedicated space to cook with my foraged and homegrown foods. But this is not just a space to grow food. It's a place where I can experiment and learn and play and connect deeply with the land and its rhythms. Alongside permaculture principles, I also use biodynamic gardening techniques, combining the art of designing sustainable systems with the spirit of working in tune with the natural cycles. Biodynamic methods guide my growing beyond just the physical act of planting. They encourage a holistic approach where I view the garden as a living organism. I let the moon's phases dictate my seed sowing and harvesting, believing that its energy supports the plant's vitality. Every day I talk to my plants as if they're my friends, acknowledging their life force and inviting them to thrive. Ponds are a vital feature in this space. 5 ponds are nestled within the garden, each creating unique ecosystems, inviting different forms of wildlife and fostering biodiversity. This garden is a living canvas, a place where all aspects of myself and the land come together, making it as much a place of growth and food as it is a sanctuary for connection and learning. Skateboarding has been the biggest influence on my life over the last 20 years, but once I got the keys to my allotment, I found myself wanting to spend more days here than anywhere else. So about 4 or 5 years ago, I decided to build a skate ramp, allowing me to skate right here in the garden. It's been such a welcome escape from the busy skate parks and was my favourite feature for a long time. That was until I installed a wood-fired bathtub. This bath is honestly amazing. It keeps me warm in the winter and cools me down in summer, and offers me moments of quiet stillness whenever I need it. My allotment is 1 plot away from the border of the woodlands, and it means that I have quite a big problem with squirrels. Each year they seem to pick a new favourite crop, and this season they took a particular liking to my plums. These are one of my favourite beans to grow. They're Biodynamic beans, and I never harvest them fresh. I always leave them to dry on the plant, and then I just jar them up and use them in stews. They're beautiful, aren't they? It's quite dark in my greenhouse, but I need to harvest these grapes before any more rats or birds eat them. Quite a few bunches have been attacked already. Let's get some of these harvested. All of this food, along with the herbs and berries that I foraged earlier, will make their way into their meals at my retreats next month. So let's get back to the kitchen and get prepping. Right, it is the next day and it's about time I preserve some of this beautiful bounty that I harvested yesterday. And I'd like to start with the most perishable items first. And so in my case today, it's my grapes. So I'm going to get all these picked off the stem, washed and put through the juicer. And I think I'm going to freeze my rowan berries, rose hips and sloes. Let the pears ripen on the side a little bit longer, hang up my herbs to dry, and then if I get time I'm going to roast some of these marrows and make a dip that I can freeze and use in my retreats in October. I got a huge harvest of apples that I don't want to go to waste down there. The other day I got a big old wood chip delivery and it was an apple tree that got chopped down, and I managed to scavenge from the wood chip pile loads and loads of apples, and I think they're cooking apples. They're not fully ripe, but they're going to be perfect for applesauce and making apple cider vinegar. So my plan is to chop off all the bad bits, get those peeled and mash those up into an applesauce as well. The first job is tackling these grapes, and this vine they come from has been with me for 7 years now. When I took over the allotment, I inherited it from an elderly gentleman who told me that it's over 25 years old. It's a beautiful plant to work with and one of my favourites, offering a generous harvest each and every year. Right now I'm just washing the grapes and picking them off the stalks and prepping them for the juicer. It's a little bit of a process, but the reward of that fresh juice makes every step worthwhile. Grape juice is so versatile. Whether I'm sipping it fresh or turning it into a jam or reducing it for sauces, it adds a sweet, tart element that elevates everything from dressings to desserts to vinegars. But these grapes aren't just delicious, they're packed with health benefits. The skins are full of antioxidants, especially polyphenols, which have anti-inflammatory effects and are thought to support heart health. The juice itself is rich in vitamin C and K, making a natural boost for the immune system. So while they are really tasty and versatile in the kitchen, these grapes are also doing us the world of good. And so here we've got the grape juice, the grape pulp, and the grape seeds and skin here as well. So these white berries are a species of rowan called Kashmir rowan, and these are a lovely white berry that are much larger than the red rowan berries that you might usually see, like this. But rowan actually comes in lots of different colours: red, orange, yellow, and this white berry here. And I find this white berry a little bit less bitter than the red, and I like to mix them both up into kind of like a sort of like a cranberry sauce-esque type syrupy jam thing, but it's quite delicious. I really like that tart kind of taste that you get from sour berries like cranberries and rowan, so I don't add too much sugar, but if you are a fan of sweeter sauces, then you probably do need to add sugar because they can be a little bit bitter. So I've just got these elderberries out of the freezer and I'm going to transfer them into a proper freezer bag.
What are you doing?
If you can hear some chirping in the background, then that is actually the little quiet beeps of my 5-day-old baby ducklings. And these were hatched by my neighbour's chicken, Gloria. She was quite broody, so we placed some duck eggs underneath her and she actually took really, really good care of them. They hatched and now we have these beautiful, beautiful baby ducklings that have been living in my house over the past few days. They are little terrors really, but they are the cutest things to have around. Just getting all fluffy again. Go on then. I don't know what you're squeaking at. It's your turn now. You got run of the house, you guys, haven't you? Look at you. I've just mopped up. Right, well I set up this lion's mane kit on the 25th of August and today is the 10th of September. And this is how the baby's looking. It is perfectly ready to harvest now. Probably could have been harvested yesterday, but it is beautiful. Look at that. The spines have elongated and it's just starting to turn colour, which means it's ready. Any longer and it will be starting to turn. That's not bad. I've got a kilo of lion's mane there. Pretty stoked with that. I'm going to get it torn up and put in the dehydrator. I absolutely adore growing mushrooms. I grow loads at my allotment, but I also cultivate them at home too. In the UK, these mushrooms are incredibly rare and considered endangered. Habitat loss and specific growth requirements mean they're hardly ever found in the wild. I've never ever come across one myself, and even if I did, I wouldn't be able to harvest it. That's why it's so cool to be able to grow these at home. Lion's mane is such an interesting mushroom. The texture is perfect for things like crab cakes and pulled pork tacos. It's probably most well known for helping to support brain health, enhancing memory and focus, and it's even being explored for neurodegenerative diseases. I've cut around all of the little squirrel bites on my allotment plums and I'm mixing them together with a batch of cherry plums that I foraged from a skate spot in Sheffield. I actually spotted these trees last autumn when the spot was being built, but I was a little bit late for the harvest. This morning though, we had some high winds, so I went up to check. Luckily, the winds had brought down most of the plums and it made for really easy picking. I found myself skating around gathering them all up in my jumper. It's such a blessing when nature does most of the hard work for you. Preserving food like this has always been something I've enjoyed. The grapes I'm juicing today, and the berries that I'm freezing, the mushrooms I'm dehydrating, and the plum jam and syrup I'm making will all come together to feed my guests at the retreats next month. I have well and truly been claimed by this land, and sharing knowledge about wild food and growing feels like the best way to invite others into the same sense of connection and belonging. There's something incredibly special about serving food that's been grown and foraged right here. It's an awesome way to share the bounty of each season and to create meals that connect people with the environment around them.